biggest frustration, and it's like the biggest thing where I just want to grab people and shake them and be like, you should want to hit your protein, eat enough fiber, not drink alcohol, 3 nights a week and call it balance, because that's fucking stupid. And instead just do it because it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Like that's just that's just who you are. You should want to strength train so you have muscle when you're older, so when you fall down, you don't break a bone.
Totally. I think there's a bad association that comes with tracking macros. So some people who have tracked before don't have a good relationship with it. They're like, it sucks. It takes too long. It's too hard. I don't understand it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the LeanLife Project Podcast. This is my wife, Maddie, and I am the co-host or host, Ryan. We're going to jump right in. So I'm going to give you a little bit of my backstory. Maddie, I'll share her backstory and why we started this coaching business, who we're here to help, and what you can expect moving forward on this podcast.
Yeah, we're super excited. First podcast underway.
First podcast underway. I love it. So rewinding back to, 2018? I think that was when, I'd been out of the gym for a little over a year. You and I had been dating a little over a year at this point, and that's when I had a family health scare. Just kind of like due to lifestyle, alcohol, food, eating out all the time. I was following that path, and I just remember so badly like wanting to be in a different spot for like the longest time. I always wanted more. I wasn't, happy with my job. I was really anxious. I was drinking, which just started like Friday, Saturday night, and then it was Sunday, fun day, like brunch to go cure the hangover, and then it was the occasional Thursday night dinner, and then it was Wednesday, Tuesday, and then it was just like a thing I was doing on a daily basis, and I so badly wanted to change. And so, 5 or 6 months, I just like cold turkey quit drinking, quit going out, honestly quit hanging out with a lot of friends too, just because, it was nothing against them. It was me just figuring out, and like, what do I actually want out of life? Who do I want to be? And do I need this? Like, am I reliant on this? So I was just trying to remove myself from situations that I felt weren't helping my cause for a little bit. And as you remember, didn't know anything about nutrition. It was just clean eating, chicken, rice, quinoa, like baked chicken, and turkey bacon, or like green beans, like unseasoned green beans, like just horrendous meal prep. And I remember you throwing away so much of it, but did that for like 24 or 27 weeks or something like that. I remember I tracked it and wrote it down somewhere, but in the midst of all that, I remember cooking all those meals for you, and like, you just like weren't really with it. We hadn't really had that conversation yet. And I think that's something I'd love to get into later today, as people that always ask, like, how do you get someone on board? How do you convince them to, have the same goals as you, or want to like go down that same path as you? Like, that's not how we started. So
not at all. I think it's funny actually how I got into fitness. Obviously you were a big inspiration of that, but I went backwards for many years, even after you went on this journey of your own, a little bit of soul searching that you were doing, trying to figure out who you wanted to be. I was not there yet. And I don't know if anyone knows, but I'm a couple years younger than Ryan. And so when I moved in with Ryan, I was 17 and still kind of trying to just figure out my own life and what I wanted to do. And watching him go through his own fitness journey, of course, it was inspiring to me, but I was not there yet, and you know that.
yeah.
It's a funny joke that we often tell our clients that Ryan did used to prep some meals and stuff for me. And I, at the time, was working at a bar in our local town, and I would leave it in the fridge a little too long so I could throw it away. So it's actually pretty funny that I'm in fitness now, because it's not the path I saw myself on. Actually, for a long time, went to school for something entirely different. However, Ryan was a big part of that inspiration for me to get into fitness. And as I went backwards for many, many years, I struggled with binge eating, not knowing what I should be doing. I was following every fad diet that you hear every woman talk about. I feel like from the time I was 12 years old, I was thinking about how could I lose weight. And I fixated on it for so long that for some reason I just continuously went backwards and continue to have a worse relationship with food. And although you were trying to help me in 2018 by prepping meals and stuff, I also wanted to be on that journey. I just don't think I was fully mentally committed. And for some reason that still pushed me the other way. But like you said, a lot of people ask us, how do you inspire someone else to be on that journey? And I will say that I'm just thankful you never gave up on me, because all that time that you were prepping meals and stuff for me, it wasn't that you were really trying to force things on me. You were just trying to be that inspiration and be helpful and be supportive. And you were still figuring it out for yourself too. So you didn't really know what that needed to look like in terms of helping someone else just yet. And you stayed the course. And that was something that eventually, when we went into business together, I was at my heaviest weight and felt like such a fraud being in this business together. But through all that inspiration you gave me, you've taught me that it may not be the perfect time and it's okay to feel uncomfortable, but it's also important to push yourself and get out of that comfort zone. And so doing so changed my life and how I view fitness and got me to where I am today. And now we get to help other women do the same.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's honestly wild when you think back. I think on paper I started the Ryan Tripp Fitness thing in 2018. It's like before the CBD company and all that stuff that I tried. And I remember it was like I wanted to do you remember like the email based training programs?
Yes.
Trying to sell like $10 a month email based training programs. Nobody would sign up. I had people actively reaching out saying like, would you coach me or would you train me in person? I'll pay you whatever. And I was like, no, like I have a $10 a month program, like buy it or don't. Like I don't want to coach anyone. Just because I saw like fitness influencers at the time that had like these $7 a month apps or $30 a month apps or these email based training programs. And I thought that was going to be like the thing. I'm like, I just need 1,000 people at $10 a month, $10,000 a month seems like a good business. And yeah, I think the entire year of 2018 didn't make a dollar. 2019, I had that one sponsored body armor post. I made $250. It was like negative 5,000 or something for the year. And then 2020, I remember like initially tried to coach some people. Had one person join the Facebook group, and it was like so embarrassing that I actually refunded him because there was like no community that I was banking on having.
Yeah.
I got told no so many times for the initial coaching offer that I had, and yeah, it wasn't until like October later that year that we actually dove in and spent like 3 weeks and just put our heads in the mud and got to work. But it was cool. It's cool to see like where we started out coaching just guys. For context, for anybody listening, Maddie and I started. She was more on the back end. I was the face of it. We started coaching just guys, and I had all these females reaching out for coaching. They're like, "Hey, does your girlfriend do any coaching?" And I was like, "Nope, it's just me." She was helping run in the back end and social media and all that stuff. And then we pretty quickly in like 3 or 4 months got like really busy with it. Started coaching females, got even more busy, and at that point we had someone helping like on the sales side, we had someone helping on the videography side, we had someone charge us way too much money to build that website. And then it was like what 20, but things like were working well, right? You were able to help on the back end, I was coaching, but we just didn't have, like, it was very chaotic. And then I remember it was like 2.5, 3 years ago when you started coaching, I guess, 2 years ago when you started coaching, then we were both doing everything, seemed even more chaotic. And now we're kind of going through that transition phase of you are now becoming the head coach. We're coaching just moving forward, females. And I guess, I'm stepping more into like the back end and ops and business side of it.
Which is crazy to see how much it has changed over the years because you were the face and you were the one that was into fitness. And of course, you being that inspiration to me, and then me getting into fitness and going through my own transformation where I finally wasn't just crash dieting and hating myself. It was cool to start coaching. And then we started to see this shift of more women coming in. And I feel like that got really exciting because we both know, Ryan watched me go through it, how I felt being 5'2", 200 pounds, dealing with PCOS symptoms, or so I thought, and really struggling with my food relationship. It's really cool now that we've shifted to coaching more females and being able to help these women who were in a position that I was once in, where you feel helpless, you feel like you've tried everything. But it is fun kind of seeing our roles shift and change because it has definitely been a learning process.
Yeah.
People always joke, how do we run this business together without killing each other? And I think sometimes we're still figuring it out.
Yeah. I want to get into a couple topics here. We had some questions from some clients and some other people that we're in like business mentorships with. How do you split responsibilities without like basically wanting to kill each other? We get asked that all the time. Like, how do we work together? How do you guys meal prep together? How do you guys work out together? Which we don't work out together all the time.
No, not
Like
really.
not a ton. Like we go through like little phases, like 2 or 3 week spurts. Like if you're falling off track or I'm falling off track, like we'll work out together. I feel like it helps. But like most of the time we don't train together. Um, we're together a lot. So that's like one thing we like to kind of do separate. We like
Yeah.
different music.
I think it's important to still have your separate things that you do without your partner, especially when you run a business together. And like you said, we are quite literally together all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, the work together thing, it's so funny how many times we've like had an office together and then separate and then together and separate. And every 6 months we'll work in the same room. But it's like when we have our desk in the same room, you're downstairs or I'm downstairs working because one of us is on calls. And now it's totally separate offices. We found that that's probably best long term.
100%. I think we've learned to working together, not only in relationship, but like as a business relationship too, is communication is going to be the top thing 100%. Because like you said, there are definitely times that there probably was frustrations or times you want to kill each other. And it's, I think some of that is because you step on each other's toes. But once you learn, and we've talked to other couples that run businesses together, and a piece of advice I got a couple years ago when we were in Nashville from a couple that own a gym together, she was like, you guys need to find your strengths and weaknesses and not be stepping on each other's
What are you talking about?
shoes. Oh my gosh, her name is Dimitri's wife.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They run the
Why am
gym
I
in
drawing a blank
Canada.
right now? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, she's great. Love her, but my brain is drawing a blank. And she just was kind of a sounding board for me where I wasn't crashing out or panicking or anything by running a business with you, but just learning how they run their business together and also maintain a healthy relationship because they've been married for like 20 plus years and have kids and stuff. And so just hearing from her that it's so important, not only the communication side, but just knowing what your strengths are, what my strengths are, weaknesses, and then me not trying to boss you around or tell you what to do is so important in that aspect.
Yeah.
Very similar in fitness too. Like if I told you to go work out now or go get your steps done, there's going to be a little bit of friction if you don't communicate properly.
Yeah. I love it. A couple more things here I wanted to go through. Do you guys talk about work constantly? Like, do you have boundaries? Are you allowed to talk about work at date night? We talk about date night all the time.
That's a good question. This is probably an area that we could do a little bit
You want to
better
start?
in. Yeah, I'll let you go ahead though.
All right, I'll start. Yeah, we 90% of the time don't have, and like I don't view it as bad, honestly, but we could probably have more let's not talk about work date nights, if I'm being entirely honest. But we also like what we do. I don't see like an issue with it. You know what I mean? Unless one of us is feeling like, hey, like we do every, I don't know, 3 or 4 weeks, we're like, hey, let's just go to dinner or let's go to lunch, you and me, no phones, or let's go hike, no phones. We're not talking about work. That is nice. And I think we could have more of that. But also, sometimes we want to go to dinner and talk about the amazing week we had, or the clients that got really good results, or we've been talking about this podcast for a long time and things we're excited to share, or like the trainings that we do. Like it is fun. So I think if you enjoy what you do, and this is nothing against anyone that has like a traditional job, I still have my part-time job, I like that, but I love this. And so like if you like what you do and it's not like you nagging, bitching about stuff, like I don't see a problem with it. That's my 2 cents. I don't know how you feel about it.
I would agree. I think there's a time and a place, and I think that again we get really excited about things that are happening within our business and milestones and seeing clients reach milestones. It gets really fun and exciting, and I think if we tried to turn that off, we'd almost be turning off a part of ourselves a little bit too, where it's like you're trying to fight back the urge to talk about something that you love
Yeah.
so much, and I think that can create friction too when you're like, "Oh, I'm trying not to talk about work."
Yeah.
Like that's not
No.
fun.
I love that.
Ooh, this is a good one. Does one of you turn off easier than the other? Like at the end of the day, be able to switch from work mode to
You.
yeah,
She turns off easier. You definitely turn off easier.
yeah. I've had to work on that for sure. I think that I always have tried to separate work and like personal life as much as I can. Although I love what we do for work, I have to take care of my mental health a lot as well. And so if I allow things to stew in my brain all night long, I definitely can get in a mood or I can treat Ryan a certain way if I'm not, handling that for myself and being really intentional. So
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, you definitely turn off easier. I think of,
I think you have more of the visionary brain though too. So it's like you're thinking of the next big thing, how to impact more people, help more people, make things better, things like this podcast. You're always future thinking in a way that you're excited about something.
yeah, that makes sense. Why I can't go to sleep. Um, Moments where you disagree on a coaching decision or on a business call, how do you handle it? I feel like that could be clarified. I don't know. And I guess I'll just explain it the way I'm interpreting it. So like moments where you disagree on a coaching decision doesn't happen a ton because we're not like group coaching people. I guess so. Like we have in our community, we have like the biweekly mindset calls. And I guess it's not just mindset, just like the biweekly, like midweek momentum calls is what we call them. It's part of our community. If you want to be a part of it, you got to reach out for coaching. Sometimes we invite everyone to it, but yeah, I wouldn't say like we have big disagreements on it. I think we have different perspectives. I approach things more from the logic side of things. Not to call Maddie, like she doesn't approach things with logic, but I think just based on her fitness journey and the way that she coaches people is speaking more to like the emotional side of it. Like when someone has food noise, obviously I can speak through the logical side to certain people, but I also have to have empathy and learn how to and know how to coach people effectively through the emotional side of it, because everybody knows hit your macros, eat plenty of fiber, eat, high quality food, move more, train. Like that's great. But for someone that is not doing those things that comes into coaching and like they, for lack of a better term, screwed up 3 days in a row, I think you and I both, we know what the same end goal is. We know how we want to help the client. You just have like your own spin on it. I have my own spin on it. Typically it's like more of a logical solution, or I will use things like books, like the Science of Self-Control that I brought up. I'll pull out like little tidbits and things from that where you can speak more on your history of binge eating and the thoughts going through your head and like what led to that emotional feeling, what led to you making that choice. I think that's kind of how I'm understanding the question anyways.
Yeah, I think you and I, we don't necessarily push back on each other a lot. It's definitely more of the perspective and it's just coming at it at almost not different approaches, because I think we still, like you said, have the same end goal. We still want to help the person get to their goal, but it's a little different sometimes on how you might approach it versus how I might start asking different questions to them, looking through different things. It's never like, well, I think that's wrong for that client. It's like, oh, well, we might just need to shift how we talk to them or how we work through that. And it's never you and I disagreeing in that type of situation.
Yeah.
On a business call, I think that's a little different where you and I, again, you have the visionary side of things. I'm a little bit more of like, Ryan, go back. Like, we need to stay down here and kind of like manage this. And you're kind of like, let's do this and add more or whatever. And so I think that you and I just balance each other out. It's never necessarily like, you're wrong, you have bad business ideas or business decisions.
Got it. Yeah, I would agree. Next one here. I guess I'll ask you this and then you can ask me, what's one thing I do in business that drives you crazy?
Oh, this is a tricky one. Something you do that drives me crazy in business.
Like pet peeve, something that I do.
You have so many great ideas, and I think it's that, again, visionary side of you, but it also comes along with a little bit of overthinking at times too. And so I think it's funny because sometimes I feel like we're just kind of battling each other in terms of who can overthink more on a situation and how can we come to a solution. But I wouldn't say that's necessarily a bad thing or a pet peeve or something I don't like about you. I think it's just something that I've noticed.
Yeah, like an annoyance.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. Okay. And then you got to ask me.
All right. What's one thing I do in the business that drives you crazy? There's probably a few. And it's not leaving my shoes out.
Just business. All right. Personal is leaving your shoes everywhere, for sure. Just business.
That one's tricky.
Yeah, I wouldn't say there's like one particular, like nothing that drives me crazy. I don't know. I mean, I'm not one to speak on this because like I distract you and I know that, but like when I'm locked in and like fucking getting shit done and you come and ask me like the most random question that's not even remotely urgent and you don't do it often. Like we have learned that about each other.
Yes,
But yeah, I mean, just like being distracted, I think.
that makes sense.
But like you and I both cross that boundary way too often, and we're working on it. And I think
Yes,
having separate offices and like dedicated work blocks has helped with that. So
yes.
yeah,
Also realizing some questions about what do you want for dinner is not super urgent sometimes.
yep, yep, yep. Um, okay, so one other thing I kind of wanted to talk about here is who we coach and why we coach them. We coach women only. So I guess what is like your ultimate goal for someone? And obviously that's dependent on like the client, but I guess your ultimate goal with the business. Like why is this a passion of yours? Why did you choose this over sticking with accounting?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think after going through my own fitness journey and how I felt around my body and my clothes, I had actually written a note to myself in January of 2020 of this sounds so harsh, but I wrote down literally everything I hated about myself. And
When?
in January of
Oh,
2020,
2020.
yeah,
Got it.
I still have the note that's unedited, so it has the exact date. And I wrote down everything I hated about myself. And I think once I went through my own fitness journey, which didn't start actually until 2021, I ended up losing like 30 pounds in 3 months or something. I just like officially locked in and dedicated myself to learning how to eat and working through macros and not just following any random workouts on social media.
I think it was 39 pounds in 12 weeks because I have a post and a reel about it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, I forget the exact
Yeah.
details, but it was crazy because once I realized how good I could actually feel, I just wanted every female to feel that. I couldn't believe how awful I felt for so long and how far backwards I would have kept going if I didn't get a grip on it when I did. And I had tried keto, I had tried so many different diets. And so now that we're only coaching women, I feel so passionate about it because I'm like, I know how I felt and I know how good you can feel. And when you only get this one chance at life, I'm like, you owe it to yourself to feel your absolute best. But of course, there's outside factors that play into that. You know, we coach a lot of women with kids, families, intense jobs, traveling jobs. There's a lot of outside factors that play into a woman's fitness goal. And I just think that we became so passionate the more we spoke to females and what they're dealing with and how women are marketed to. I'm like, we just want to help women cut through the bullshit and actually just feel good in their body again without it being like this crazy elaborate process or feeling like they hate their lives throughout it.
Got it. That leads me to my next question. What is like your biggest frustration that you see in the fitness industry? Diet culture, quick fixes, like those types of things. Like what's probably your biggest pet peeve that you see when, a client comes in, and I'll just give you an example here, not to put words in your mouth, but someone comes in and maybe they're a little bit afraid to invest in coaching because they're like, oh, I've already, I've tried macros, or I've already done, this type of work. I've already done strength training and a calorie deficit. Didn't work for me. Like I was hoping that you had something different. What's your biggest frustration, do you think, that is like just a big stereotype, I think has skews a lot of people's perception around strength training and nutrition and just overall becoming healthier?
Where I get frustrated, it's not even that I'm like mad at the person that I'm speaking to.
Well, of course, like,
It's
yeah,
it's more so of like what they've been told or marketed to or what they believe about themselves. Some of that belief of like you want to just rip that belief out of them of like you can do this. It's not macros don't have to be hard or dieting doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to hate the process. And I think that for a lot of women, we were taught for so long of like you need to become like that smallest version of you and it like dieting needs to be miserable and you can only eat salads. I think you and I talk a lot about like yes, understanding macros and letting things fit into your macros is important, but I think also being able to teach these women that what you're eating also matters and being able to have that healthy food relationship. But I think there's so much belief in how diets used to be that it's like, oh, when I go into a diet, like this is going to suck. I don't know if I can do this. They have that belief that they're going to trip and not be able to actually do it. And so it's less of like you were saying, like the frustration of a client. That's not what it is. It's more so like the belief. Like
yeah,
you wish you could just like rip all these beliefs away from people and just like show people in the mirror, like this is who you're capable of becoming.
yeah. I want to speak on that too. I have a lot of frustrations about it that really get me fired up. You know how I am. I mean, I go on these rants all the time. That's why we're doing the podcast now. First and foremost, biggest one I think is anytime somebody, in my opinion, and again, it's just opinion, when somebody talks about tracking macros, like there is this association that it's like, why are you tracking food? Well, to lose weight. I'm in a diet. But nobody ever talks about tracking macros or paying attention to their nutrition, like when you're in a calorie surplus or not, maybe not trying to intentionally gain weight. That's not really like what most of the women that we coach aren't trying to like actively gain weight. But we've taken, me especially, before you started coaching, coached a lot of females through fat loss phases, maintenance phases, muscle building phases. Less now because we tracked, people that are seeking weight loss for the most part, or at least that's where they start, depending on how long they work with us. Sometimes we do get to into that maintenance and then muscle building phase, but everyone only gives a shit about tracking macros when it's related to weight loss. And even like you working with your coach now, he's identified, he's like, wow, you have basically taken your body to its limit. And finally, we're getting blood work. We're getting some of the results of it. And obviously, we don't need to get into the weeds of that, but it's like every time you're tracking macros, people are trying to lose weight. They're trying to get smaller. They're trying to diet down for something. They have, a vacation they're doing, and they're like, I have 9 weeks until I do this. I must diet now. And then it comes, they don't get quite to the goal. They get frustrated, and then 6 months goes by, and then they have another vacation or another thing, or it's the following year. And they're like, oh, got to get in shape for that. Boom, they're back to tracking macros. They didn't track for the entire whole rest of that year. And now they're like, yep, tracking macros, calorie deficit, like that's what I'm doing. That's my biggest frustration. And it's like the biggest thing where I just want to grab people and shake them and be like, you should want to hit your protein, eat enough fiber, not drink alcohol, 3 nights a week and call it balance, because that's fucking stupid. And instead just do it because it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Like this, that's just that's just what you, or that's just who you are. Like you should want to strength train so you have muscle when you're older. So when you fall down, you don't break a bone.
Totally. I think there's a bad association that comes with tracking macros sometimes because of the idea of like, oh, I only track macros when I'm trying to lose weight. But I think a big part of what we're trying to teach as well to these women is you can also do this without tracking macros eventually, but it's an important skill to learn in the beginning. And that doesn't mean that you would just learn it because you're trying to lose fat. You're learning it because you're trying to learn how to fuel yourself. And that's really important.
Yeah.
So some people who have tracked before don't have a good relationship with it. They're like, oh, it sucks. It takes too long. It's too hard. I don't understand it. Like it is. It's uncomfortable to learn at first. Well, none of us were taught this.
And we talked about mindful eating and getting people away from tracking macros eventually so they don't have to live in MyFitnessPal. Like that's something that we speak about all the time is like, we'll show you how to get in shape, like how to lose fat and how to not live in MyFitnessPal forever. But that does not mean that we're the intuitive eating coaches, like by any means. I'm very much not an intuitive eating coach. I don't think intuitive eating works. I think it's stupid. I don't think it's a strategy. And I think it's, like a hope and a dream. When people are like, I've tracked macros, I'm really looking for intuitive eating. It's like, well, if that were actually an effective strategy, you would intuitively, A, you wouldn't be overweight because you know how to intuitively eat. And B, if you're like, oh, I'll just start intuitively eating, like you'd just be able to intuitively eat your way into shape, but you haven't, which case in point, it does not work in my opinion. So I would go on to say, if you don't know macros, you don't know much about nutrition. Like if you're not going to eyeball your way, in my opinion, to sustainable fat loss. You might be able to be like, I need to start eating less, but if you don't know what amount of fiber is in certain foods, you don't need to know the exact gram. But if you're not able to hit high protein, high fiber, and keep yourself in a deficit long term, you can only just say like, well, I'll just eat less or I'll only eat twice a day. It only works so long, and it's not necessarily a good strategy in my opinion. A lot of people will do that and still drink and still eat candy and still eat things that are highly processed or extremely high in sugar and low in fiber, and then their digestion's all screwed up and they're like, well, I saw the scale go down. And so they associate it with good. It's like, oh, I just ate a little bit less and like that's good. And they're still making poor nutritional choices overall. That's like one of my frustrations.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why we're so
intuitive
big
eating
on.
sucks.
Yeah. It's a good little one-liner of something you definitely disagree with. And I think, again, intuitively eating, like I would have intuitively found myself in a McDonald's drive-through. And that's what I did all of 2020, and which is where I got to where I was. Not that McDonald's is the worst thing in the world, but it's those choices compounded over time that got me to where I was. And so then once I learned macros, I was like, dang, that is insane. But like you learn so much. And then as time has evolved, yeah, I played the if it fits your macros game in the beginning. And now learning how to build meals that just genuinely make me feel good and taking care of fiber and all the good things that actually matter on the inside of your body too
Yeah.
is really important. But that's why we hammer macros so much. Macro Maddie over here.
Macro Maddie.
Ah.
Did you want to go through some of these? There's a couple other fun ones. Just going to kind of rapid fire at you here. I'll just let you answer. Who is the stricter coach? It's kind of an interesting question.
This is a tricky question, I think, in terms of the word strict. I wouldn't say either of us are strict in the sense that we're going to hold you to the wall and say, eat this protein.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say stricter is the appropriate word. I would say I might be more direct, but it also depends. We ask people how they like to receive feedback, and some people, funny enough, for any guys watching this, I have better success being much more direct with our female clients than with our male clients. And you would think it would be the opposite, because sometimes when guys come in, I've literally been told to my face, I don't want any of the motivational bullshit. I just need, a training plan. And I'm like, well, that's not true, because if that were the case, you would have found a training plan on Google and you'd have followed it. Like, there is an emotional side for guys too. There was a reason that I couldn't keep, my hands out of a case of beer, or I was going to say out of a basket of French fries and off, drinking beer. Like, there was a big emotional trigger there, and I just didn't like where I was at in life. And I was just basically masking everything I was doing. That's why I was anxiety ridden all the time. Like, it wasn't like, I knew that what I was eating and drinking wasn't like serving me. And like, and I had a background of like training after high school. I took weight training all 4 years in high school. Like, I knew those things, and a lot of guys know those things. There's like former athletes that have came to us that want coaching. They're like, I just need a training program. And I'm like, you need more than a training program. And that's not to speak negatively. It's just, anyone that is like seeking weight loss, like if somebody says, yeah, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. I'm like, well, you might fundamentally know that you need to move more, eat less, but if you don't know the exact strategy, or else you would have applied it by now. So
Totally. Yeah, so I wouldn't say that either one of us is more strict than the other. It's, again, different approaches and asking clients how they like to be spoken to. Because, like Ryan said, some females do just want like the cut and very blunt feedback. Other females, you have to take a little bit of a softer approach or talk through it differently because they don't want to be yelled at or.
Yeah, I don't think yelling is ever the thing. It's just like you have to ask people, like, A, meet them where they're at, and then B, some people will set up an aggressive goal and then get part of the way there, and then they kind of start, I don't want to say stalling, but they'll start to realize like the concept of, is the juice worth the squeeze? And I've talked to a lot of guys and girls about this. They're like, this seems like a little extreme, like maybe, and I'm just asking them, take it how I mean it. What's the word? Not no hard feelings, but if you want to reduce your goal, for lack of a better term, I can't think of the right word, but if you want to change your goal a little bit and the goal weight is not as important and you just want to have a little more flexibility and have this complement your life and not become your entire life, some people get to a point where they're like, I feel like I'm going to have to be obsessed if I want to get to this. I'm like, well, yeah, I think that's where comparison comes into play, where people see a certain physique or a certain body type, or they saw some fitness person on Instagram that shared their macros and a day in the life eating, which I think those can be helpful. I don't think they're all bad, but when someone's like, they eat this much, I'm like, well, yeah, they have different amount of lean body mass than you. They have different genetics. Like, they train differently than you. They have a different, entire upbringing. Like, they've been at this for a decade and you've been at it for 3 months. You're not going to have that body, and comparing is dumb anyways. But sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. Bring me back.
I can't even remember what the original question was. We riffed on that part in a good way.
Yeah, all right.
Best thing you've learned from each other. Who I'll start. I would say the best thing I've learned throughout not only this process, business, fitness, and everything is that, actually I put this in my vows as well, is that Ryan has just always continuously reminded me to push myself, to strive for more, for growth, to be a better person, to challenge myself. I think we all know, we were talking about it earlier this week or maybe today, that I think when you stop doing hard shit, you become kind of a soft person.
Yeah. Can I pause you for a sec? So I just wanted to finish out my thought. When somebody does reduce that goal, sometimes I'll just ask people, I'm like, here's what you said, and I'll bring up something that they put in their intake form. Here's what you said, like, this is why this goal is important, and I'll remind them, and I'll be like, it's okay if that goal has changed, but like, you can do it. What you're feeling right now is just the adversity. Like, it's hard, like, and it's supposed to be hard, because if it was easy, this wouldn't be a goal that you hired me to set, because you would have achieved it by now, right? And so like, when it starts to feel hard, I'm like, if you want to change it, that's fine. We can course correct a little bit. You can kind of let your foot off the gas, like if you feel like you're happy with where you're at. But also, sometimes it's time to fucking lean in and like push into it and get there once. And now you have proof of doing the hard thing. You're like, I got all the way from A to Z. I don't want to say without fail, because yeah, kind of without fail. Like, there's going to be little mini failures that come along the way. You're not going to do everything perfectly, but you can, like, if you don't quit, you can get there. And so that's what I remind people of. And everybody responds to that differently. There's some people that are like, I'm happy, with losing 50 pounds instead of 78. And my goal weight was 250. And they're like, I got to 262. Like, I'm really proud of that. That's awesome. But also, I remind them, you can get there if you want to. Like, you just have to lean in a little bit harder. And it's for a period of time. So that's what I would say.
A lot of coaching is just that belief and mindset shifting right
Yeah.
there when it comes to that goal.
And so, right back, you reminded me perfectly of what I was trying to remember. You were just saying that I remind you to push yourself.
Yes.
That's basically what I'm saying there too.
And change yourself and challenge yourself. And when things do feel hard and there is that resistance, is not stopping there. Like, reminding yourself, like, you can course correct, you can switch up the goal, but you want to make sure that's actually out of alignment versus fear of challenging yourself to just buckle down and lean into that hard goal.
Yeah. Love it.
What's the best thing you've learned from me?
Ooh, I've learned a lot. Best thing is tough.
So tough. Can't think of one.
That's really hard to narrow down. I would say one of the best things is, and that, like, this has been hard for me, is just understanding that I'm never gonna get it all done in a day. And I used to be so hard on myself about that, and I would sacrifice so much sleep to like get a task done. And I think part of it has to do with, my OCD and ADHD. But a lot of it too is just like the fear of failure. The first few attempts that I took at the coaching business, like, was just failure after failure after failure. It took like over 2 full years before we actually successfully signed someone up for coaching and got them a good result. And so anytime something new comes up, or, like if it had to do with a website or apparel, or even like something as simple as writing Christmas cards, like, I just always wanted to, like, if I had the idea, I wanted to get it done that day. And you've done a very, very good job of teaching me, we can just chip away at these things like a little bit over time, just like a fitness goal. You can't go work out 7 times for the week, or 28 times for the month, or I guess that would be a workout every day. You can't go work out 20 times for the month, like your 5 days of workouts each week for a whole month. Like, you can't do it all at once. Like, it's a consistency over time that compounds, and like, you're not going to be that good at it when you start. And so when I start something new and I get flustered that I'm like, I just want to get this done, you're like, Ryan, it's okay. Like, we can finish that tomorrow. Or, you can't do everything today. So I would say, just reminding me that I'm never going to get it all done.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. What can the viewers and listeners expect moving forward from this podcast?
Rants from me, for sure. Good insight from you.
We just want to continue to educate people and show them what is possible, and
show people what's possible, show people that they have what it takes, show people in the kindest way that they're not that special. You're not that special. I'm not that special. They're not that special. Like, we're all just humans going through this. Everybody has been, there's enough people in this world, and there's enough overweight people in this world, that everyone has been in probably the exact same situation, maybe even a little bit worse, and gotten the result that you want, or even better result that you want from doing the work from taking the advice, from implementing the strategies, and just more than anything, not quitting, not giving up. Like, it takes time. You've been on your journey for multiple years. You've had periods of great success. You've had periods of regression. I've had periods of great success, periods of regression. I've prepped for photo shoots. I've been really lean and really happy in my body. I've had times where I've been so focused on business, I completely got out of tune with my own, I was so focused on the business, I got completely out of tune with my own fitness, where I was doing whatever I could to get away from work, and I was, back to drinking frequently and going golfing, just trying to like totally detach in almost an unhealthy way. But you can reel it back in. It's okay if you have success followed by a little bit of regression. The goal is like to not quit. You can do hard things, you can have what you want, you just have to keep working at it. So
I love that.
yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to keep bringing more and chatting through these topics together of what we've continued to learn, not only in ourselves and our lives and our clients' lives, but we're not bodybuilders. We're pretty average people that have achieved fitness transformations and just want to continue to help other people live healthy lifestyles without limiting beliefs, like changing who they are and believing that they can do more
Yep.
with this one chance that we get.
I love it. Awesome. Well, let's wrap it up. That was great. Thank you for anyone that watched or listened. There'll be a lot more to come from us.
Thanks.
Chat soon.